Currently standing.
Dragon is in terminal count.
And Dragon is in terminal count, and we are standing by to hear that stage 1 liquid oxygen loading is complete. Stage 2.
Stage 1 LOX load is complete.
And there we have it, and stage 2 should finish shortly after, at about 2 minutes prior to liftoff.
So now the last major event is
how exciting. Welcome in, everyone.
Loading on stage 2.
We're a couple minutes away from
up at about
launching
then at about
astronauts into space.
We have to
It's going to be a beautiful, beautiful little evening
line
launch.
that goes up the strong back alongside the Falcon 9.
They just finished
You
fueling.
see a large white cloud about midway down around the rocket.
This is really exciting.
Normal. That's again just the gaseous oxygen hitting the warm, moist Florida air.
Hey, Phoenix.
Stage 2 LOX load is complete. Dragon is in auto idle.
And good calls that stage 2 liquid oxygen load is complete. That means we have full fuel on the first and second stages, that densified kerosene, and we're full of the oxidizer.
Vanilla, hey guys.
Liquid oxygen on
so we are a minute and 20 seconds away from launch.
20 seconds until liftoff today. And as you can hear those sounds, like Soichinoguchi said, the vehicle is alive. Coming up
the vehicle is alive. How exciting.
Is in countdown, and Falcon 9 is in startup.
This is a SpaceX Falcon 9 missile rocket.
FTS is armed. Falcon 9 is in startup and is now controlling.
50 seconds now until liftoff. That FTS you heard is flight termination.
Dragon, SpaceX, go for launch.
Nice, Dal.
SpaceX, this is Resilient.
Thanks, man.
Go for launch, and at 37 seconds, the International Space Station flying.
I have never seen a launch in person. Oh, that's cool. That's got the countdown on the screen.
Catch it. 20 seconds till liftoff.
T-minus 15 seconds. Falcon 9 is configured for flight. 10, 9, 8, 7.
Here we go.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition.
And resilience rises. Not even gravity contains humanity when we explore as one for all.
Propulsion is nominal.
That's the word we want to hear. Stage 1 propulsion is nominal.
As 30 seconds into this historic mission, flying crew on board Dragon and Falcon 9.
Look at that velocity climb.
Stage 1
wow.
is preparing to throttle down.
Wow.
This is in preparation for max Q, which is maximum aerodynamic pressure.
Stage 1, throttle down.
There's that call out for throttle down.
Power and telemetry continue to be nominal for the vehicle, now traveling at 262 meters per second.
Falcon 9 is supersonic.
262 meters per second.
And we will be passing through
wow.
max Q here shortly, the largest structural load.
Just a football field every second.
And there's that call out. That Falcon has passed through max Q.
And we've
wow.
just entered
and it's just getting faster and faster.
Mode that's going
How
to take
remarkable.
them through the end of the first stage burning just before second stage activates off the coast of North Carolina. T plus 1 minute and 40 seconds into flight. Dragon and Falcon 9 traveling 709 meters per second. That call that MVAC chill is underway. The Merlin
2.5 football fields per second now. Wow.
Now with the call out of MVAC chill-in, similar to what we saw in the first stage Merlin engines, the second stage engine being prepared for its ignition coming up in just over 30 seconds from now. We're a half a minute away from 3 quick events in rapid succession.
Wow.
We're going to get main engine
Deshaun, thanks for subscribing. I don't know, guys. Would you launch into space? Would you do this?
Ignition of the second stage engine.
I don't know if I could.
We've begun
I mean,
the
I
throttle
think
down in preparation for
it'd be
stage
worth it,
separation.
but it'd be nerve-wracking. Phoenix.
And we have
2 Alpha.
Stage separation confirmed.
And you see that stage separation has confirmed. There goes that MVAC engine. Stage 2. Crew 1 is now on their way to the International Space Station.
Beautiful.
On the right side of your screen, you see stage 2 continuing to burn. Over on the left-hand side is stage 1 preparing for its return to Earth.
Currently on the left side, you can't make out much. It's a couple hours after sunset in Florida, but the grid fins have deployed on the first stage. The first stage is now unpowered, but with the velocity it had, it continues to coast up to an apogee before it begins to descend back into Earth's atmosphere. Now, as we watch, maybe we'll see the lights of Florida or the eastern seaboard in the background, but otherwise there's not going to be much to see. On the right-hand side,
Dragon, SpaceX, trajectory nominal.
you can hear the call out. Trajectory is nominal.
Nominal trajectory.
And we've heard the call out Bermuda. That means Bermuda ground station has the signals from the second stage of the Dragon and Falcon 9.
We're still continuing as stage 2 burns to listen for those abort zones. We are now in 2A through 2E to Echo, taking us up over the northern Atlantic.
Right now you can see the second stage engine glowing with the standard red that we have come to see over all these missions. Indicates everything's looking good. Power on the MVAC-D engine continues to run at 220,000 pounds of thrust in the vacuum of outer space.
Dragon, SpaceX, trajectory nominal.
And trajectory nominal.
Copy, nominal trajectory.
And we hear the reply from the crew acknowledging we have a nominal trajectory. Dragon made it to the Falcon 9 second stage, heading into the low Earth orbit, where Dragon will then separate and begin its trip the rest of the way to the space station.
We'll be looking for SECO, second stage engine cutoff, coming up at 8 minutes and 48 seconds after launch today. So about 3.5 minutes from now, Dragon and Falcon 9, second stage, currently flying 2,979 meters per second.
Wow, look at that velocity.
Now currently the first stage has begun its descent. It is through apogee.
Yeah, I bet, Phoenix. That's kind of something that not a lot of people can really understand is the physical impact of these launches. Brian, welcome.
Trajectory.
Another call out, another nominal trajectory, just what we love to hear.
That voice you're hearing on board Dragon, that's Commander Mike Hopkins speaking for our 4-person crew as they continue their journey now 6 minutes and 12 seconds after liftoff. Trajectory still nominal.
And Leah, you can see on the indicator altitude, 201 kilometers. We're now beginning to essentially level out and pick up velocity to get us into low Earth orbit. We're a little under 1 minute from the ignition for the entry burn on first stage.
And we're about 2 minutes away.
Dragon, SpaceX, trajectory nominal.
Copy, nominal trajectory.
Great news. Now 7 minutes after launch, second stage engine continues to burn. Everything looking good. And we'll see that continue to burn for another 1 minute and about 38 seconds.
Right now on stage 2, the crew's getting about a little more than 2.5 Gs of acceleration. First stage preparing to ignite for the entry burn.
Stage 2 FTS saved.
Yeah, Phoenix, everything about this is awesome. Gord, welcome. Welcome to the stream.
And we've got ignition of the entry burn, center engine, followed by the other 2 restart engines. First stage now getting ready to re-enter the Earth's atmosphere. This is about a 29-second burn, and it's designed to slow the vehicle way down. We're going to shed about 70% of the velocity of that dropping first stage by the time this landing burn completes. I should say by the time the entry burn completes, which is now over.
Awesome.
Stage on target for the drone ship in the Atlantic Ocean. Meanwhile, we're watching second stage getting close to getting into orbit.
I think
That's
they're
right,
going
we've got
to
about
the
30 seconds
International
more.
Space Station.
And now just about 20 seconds more of stage 2 continuing to burn until we see second stage engine cutoff, or SECO. We'll coast for a few minutes afterward to allow the rates in motion
Shannon.
Roger, Shannon. There's that call for Shannon. That's Shannon, Ireland, an abort zone, but it looks like we continue smoothly to orbit today.
So it's looking like we're
Doing the
getting up to
shutdown.
peak velocity. There it is. Yep.
And we've got shutdown of the second stage engine on time.
Great. And there's the team.
Dragon SpaceX nominal orbit insertion.
The guys who, you know, don't get
Launch escape system is
all the fame for these launches, but there they
They
are.
are the words
It's
we
awesome
like
that
to
we have
hear.
a
Nominal
visual of
orbit
them.
insertion.
That's right, John. Nominal orbit insertion, as we mentioned, stage 2. Oh, looks like some action on stage 1. And I believe we've had a touchdown on the drone ship.
We've got stage 1 has touchdown on the drone ship in the Atlantic Ocean.
Oh, did
But
we
now,
get to
the
see
more
that?
important news, second
Hopefully
stage is
they
in
show us a
orbit,
replay.
right where we want, right on time.
Because
and
that's
we're getting
what-
ready for a next major activity, which will be Dragon spacecraft separation.
So real quick, that's what SpaceX has.
Now, currently on
That's the
second
advancement that
stage,
they've really made, is
are
the ability to
essentially venting
reuse these
pressure,
rockets. And so
purging the
what we
engine
just
out,
saw
making
is
sure
that
everything
the
is quiet
launch
in
engine just landed again on
Take
a
look. That's inside
basically a
Crew
barge
Dragon right now.
in
Our
the
Crew
Atlantic
1
Ocean.
crew now coasting in low
Now
Earth
let's see if we
orbit,
can see.
still
We can
attached to
kind
that
of
second
see
stage.
the low
In
Earth
just a
orbit. We
couple
can
of
kind of
minutes, we
see
should
that the
see
gravity
second
is
stage
that they're.
separate, and Crew Dragon will be flying free.
I don't know what those straps are. It looks like those are just the
mission timer
extra
shows 90 seconds to Dragon separation.
the extra like
Currently,
leash
Dragon
of
is
like the
flying
seatbelt.
at 27,000
Kinda just hanging
kilometers
there?
an hour. And we're T plus 11 minutes since liftoff today, waiting on that second stage separation. But as you can see, our astronauts from left to right, Shannon Walker, Victor
Cool.
Glover,
They all look
Mike
calm,
Hopkins,
cool,
and
collected. It seems like
Soichinoguchi,
they're.
now
Yep,
on their way
everybody's
to
just
the
kind of taking
International
care of
Space
their.
Station. First trip to
Did you see the
space
flip
for
of
Victor
the
Glover.
signal in Newfoundland.
the pad? He's kind of he knows he's on
That
camera. He's
call-out acquisition
the guy on the
of
far
signal
right
in
there.
Newfoundland. That means the Newfoundland ground station.
Now is that thing
is
just
now
hanging
receiving
out mid?
telemetry from Dragon.
How awesome! Oh, it's great.
This view inside Mission Control Hawthorne. Teams continuing to monitor the vehicle, now traveling at almost 27,000 kilometers an hour.
Ten seconds to Dragon separation.
Tide Pod. just go blow stuff up.
Dragon separation confirmed.
And separation confirmed. You can see that second stage departing. Crew Dragon leaving it behind.
Separation confirmed.
Now 12 minutes, 25 seconds into today's flight. Our next thing we'll be looking for is nose cone deploy. Our hooks will start to open on the nose cone and reveal those forward thrusters underneath.
The hooks will start to open on the nose cone and reveal the forward thrusters underneath. And so I wonder if that was that from the piece that just detached, or maybe it's because they're going so fast right now. All they need are just slight adjustments to their
13 minutes into
their
today's
angles.
mission. The view on the right-hand side of your screen coming from Crew Dragon. We had that short look at the second stage as it departed. That second stage will burn up upon re-entry into Earth's atmosphere.
Oh, let's see Earth. Come on. We got to have shots of Earth from the ship.
Dragon SpaceX, we see nominal service section Draco checkouts and the humidifier activation.
Films to Noel. He's actually on this ship. You didn't know that? We're already there. They've detached two pieces. The third is Donald Trump. They're gonna
Confirmation from teams on the ground and the crew. You can see them monitoring those 3 display panels, monitoring their journey to the International Space Station and where they are in the world right now, or over the world, I should say.
Ooh, I like those gloves. Those are cool. Phoenix, you're absolutely right. Those spacesuits are
14 minutes, 25
bad
seconds since it was
ass.
a great liftoff. Everything happened. We had a nominal insertion
Nominal.
into low Earth orbit. You saw Dragon separate.
I'm pretty sure
We
whenever
got
they
the
say nominal,
Draco checkouts
it
were
means
good.
normal.
And right now we're hearing the nose cone hooks are opening
Nominal.
up. Everything is happening right per the procedure. And we've got Crew 1 successfully on orbit. So with that, let's head over to our counterparts at Kennedy Space Center. Marie, how was that launch for you all there on the ground?
Oh my gosh,
I think we're gonna. Let's talk to the astronauts. They just opened up their masks. Let's go.
In our seats and watch. We got up away from the desk to get a better look, and then we actually could see the booster coming back down.
Yeah, that was outstanding, and I don't even know what to say. High five. We're like high fiving through the shield here.
My husband texted me a picture of my daughter watching liftoff. It was just, I'm emotional. Seeing that, and went on the first attempt. How often does that happen in human space flight?
As it should.
Very happy. It has been a long day, but just to be able to stand there and actually feel the rocket pounding the air around you was just. It was just incredible. And then looking at the light too long, I couldn't see the MVAC ignition. So I still have spots in my eyes.
And then the views inside the capsule too, with the 4 of them, looking kind of mellow, but you could see Victor's kind of letting his arms do a little bit of the floaty thing. I bet he cannot wait to get out of his seat.
Well, he's going to get a chance to here shortly. So he's officially on his way on his first space flight.
So
Incredible.
Victor, Mike, Shannon, and Soichi are now on course to arrive at the International Space Station just tomorrow, Monday, November 16th, around 11 p.m. Eastern Time. And we're going to stay live on air for continuous live coverage along their entire ride to station.
Wow.
Though our coverage here at Kennedy Space Center will conclude, we're going to turn
Does
it over
that
to
mean,
the
did they
teams
just
in
say
Hawthorne
it's going to
and
be a
Houston to take us through the next
24-hour
phases
flight?
of the Crew 1
Is that
mission,
what they said?
all the way
Wow.
through hatch opening and a welcome ceremony for the crew. Now, for those of you watching online via YouTube, take a look at the description below the video. There you'll find the new link for our Crew 1 rendezvous phase, and we'll be continuing live coverage at that new location shortly. But if you're watching on NASA TV, like my parents, you won't notice a thing and your coverage will continue.
That's right. And as you follow along, we also invite you to tune into a post-launch news conference at 9:00 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on NASA TV, where NASA and SpaceX will take questions live. And in addition to NASA TV, of course, you can always follow along on Twitter at @NASA and nasa.gov for continuous mission updates. We thank you all so much for watching, to all of our commentators. And in addition to Nicole, special thanks to you for being here.
My pleasure, ladies. Let's do it again.
Oh, please, yes. Well, we'd love to have you back. Here now are some highlights from the incredible journey that's just begun. Here's our first live look inside the suit-up room. Crew Dragon Commander Mike Hopkins was born in Lebanon, Missouri.
Pilot Victor Glover is a native of Pomona, California.
And Mission Specialist Shannon Walker is from Houston, Texas.
Mission Specialist Soichinoguchi is from Yokohama, Kanagawa, Japan.
And here they come, walking down the hall.
Everyone's looking quite peppy there.
Yeah, so cool. They're looking for people. They're looking for the people that have helped them all along the way, too, and wanting to make eye contact.
Here they come, the Crew 1 astronauts now beginning their journey to the launch pad ahead of this historic mission to the International Space Station.
Is there a better reminder of
the crew departing for the pad on schedule?
The idea that we're all in this together?
This is chase car, so you can be
hey,
along
Lucas.
with the crew every step of the way.
It's kind of like the pre-flight, right? The walk around your vehicle
Awesome,
before you
man.
get in
Thank
and fly.
you. Thank you for sharing this stuff.
I love this shot.
Yeah.
You know, when this was being designed, it was definitely a forward-thinking design.
And you can see on your screen the crew beginning the ingress process already.
But they are checking to make sure the suits are ready.
Awesome. So if anyone's just joining us, we're just looking back at highlights of the crew getting ready for launch. We just had a great, smooth, successful launch. Nominal. That's what I've learned today. Nominal launch. I'm getting goosebumps. Just what I'm gonna do is I have NASA TV ready for us, so we will. Now I want to make sure that we have volume on this, but it looks like they may still stick with the broadcast on YouTube. Hopefully, I don't know why they wouldn't, but yeah, I have the NASA programming up here. Great. It's funny from you know on my end, and I'm sure on your guys' end too. But I can see myself, you know, in this studio, in this room, and watching these men and women launch into space and have the ability to not only watch it but to share it with everyone is just I'm you know, this is some existential stuff right here, you know? Like, I mean, we really are this is just truly, it's just so remarkable. So they're gonna continue coverage. I have the NASA TV on. Stevie, good to see you. And so yeah, we're gonna wait to see what how they're gonna bring us more coverage. Stevie, they said that was and correct me if I'm wrong. The docking was going to be around 8 p.m., 11 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. So a full day of flight to the International Space Station. I'm surprised. I thought I didn't think it would take them that long, but I guess probably, you know, they can get up there pretty quickly, but it takes hours to align the spaceship. Because I mean, it has to be exact. Okay, so here we have some. We're gonna go back to. Welcome, Mitch.
It has been an incredible day with the launch of Crew 1 from Kennedy Space Center, NASA's first official long-duration mission for our commercial crew program.
So exciting. What an amazing day. We watched the crew as they suited up. We watched them ingress on Crew Dragon. We had an on-time liftoff at 7:27 p.m. Eastern Time. Stage 1 came back and landed back on Just Read the Instructions. We got confirmation of Dragon separation as well as nose cone deploy.
Yes, nose cone deploy came back clear, and we also had some good forward Draco checkouts. So all good news there as the crew continues on the way to the International Space Station. And as we said, the mission has only just begun. Right now, NASA astronauts Mike Hopkins, Victor Glover, Shannon Walker, and Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency astronaut Soichinoguchi are flying free inside Dragon after that successful separation from Falcon 9. And now we've got about 27 hours until they arrive at the space station, and we'll be here with you for the entire trip.
Immediately after the Dragon,
I would not be able to sleep. Oh my god. But it would be awesome to sleep in 0G.
Figured for on-orbit operations. The phase begins after separation of Dragon from Falcon 9 and ends with the completion of the final co-elliptic burn. Our initial orbit today is 210 kilometers by 190 kilometers, with those values representing the perigee and the apogee of the orbit, or the lowest and the highest point over the Earth. That means that the orbit isn't a perfect circle, but more like a very slight ellipse.
Dragon SpaceX, next burn is per your displays, and have some more words on TCS.
Okay, and SpaceX Dragon is ready to copy.
Okay, it looks like during activation, Loop Alpha had a pressure spike, which caused Fitter to trip and fill over to Loop Bravo. However, we do believe that Loop Alpha is healthy, and we're troubleshooting to understand, what our plan to recovery is. However, we are go for the burn in the current TCS configuration.
Okay, SpaceX Dragon copies. We had a pressure spike on Alpha, Fitter swap to Bravo, and you do think Alpha is heavy, or is healthy, and you'll give us more words later on how we'll get it back, and we are go for the burn coming up in approximately 19 minutes.
Yeah, good copy on TCS. Regarding the go for the burn, we're still assessing our overall go for the vehicle. However, TCS is in an acceptable configuration.
Okay, yeah, Dragon copies.
And we are also still assessing cabin environment, and I expect to give you some more words on that shortly for suit offing.
Dragon copies.
So those were words from the core, the Crew Operations and Resources Engineer here in Hawthorne, to our crew aboard Crew Dragon. They did have an issue with the TCS, or the Thermal Control System. And you heard another acronym there, the FITTER. That's the Fault Detection and Isolation. It's an automated system to respond to any issues that arise. There was a pressure pump spike on a pump in the thermal control system, and Dragon auto switched to Bravo. We do have 2 fault tolerance on Crew Dragon. And the flight controllers still believe that the pump that had a pressure spike is functional. But the key thing is that we are still continue to go with the nominal burn plan. So over the next 27 hours, Dragon will execute a series of burns, which will gradually raise its orbit to align more closely with the station. There are 5 major burns, or firing, of the Draco thrusters on Dragon that will bring the spacecraft close to station before we begin final approach maneuvers. The first, which you may have heard them discuss, is the phase burn. This is performed at the first apogee, or the highest point of the initial orbit, and it raises Dragon's perigee, or its lowest point, to a higher altitude.
The next burn, which is based on what our orbital data shows us, is the boost burn, which raises Dragon's orbit until its orbit reaches an altitude of just 10 kilometers lower than the space station. Followed soon after by the close co-elliptic burn to place Dragon on an orbit roughly co-elliptic with the space station. This means that the crew will be about 10 kilometers lower than the station during their entire orbit around the Earth. The fourth maneuver is the transfer burn, where we're raising Dragon's apogee, or the highest point of its orbit, to just 2.5 kilometers below station. And then we round everything out with a final co-elliptic burn to once again maintain a constant orbit beneath station, this time just 2.5 kilometers below.
And then we'll get into the approach initiation and final stages of Dragon's rendezvous with the space station. This is also when we start integrated operations between the Dragon control team here in Hawthorne and the space station flight controllers in Mission Control Houston. The teams will transition to integrated operations roughly 45 minutes prior to approach initiation. During the approach, SPACEX flight controllers will work in tandem with the NASA team in Houston to activate and test out a number of systems on Dragon, including bidirectional communications with the station using the C2V2 system, which stands for Common Communications for Visiting Vehicles, and sets up a data stream from Dragon to the station, giving another path for Dragon telemetry to come to the ground and giving an additional command capability to astronauts aboard the station. They'll also maneuver Dragon to the proper altitude and initialize the navigation sensors used for the methodical approach to station.
Tomorrow at approximately 6:30 p.m. Pacific time, Draco thrusters on Dragon will fire for the approach initiation burn when Dragon is about 2.5 kilometers below station and just about 7 kilometers behind it. This will swing Dragon up until it's about 400 meters directly below the station. This maneuver will also move Dragon inside one of the 2 safety zones around the station that requires a set of go-no-go pulls with the different control teams. The first zone is called the approach ellipsoid, which is an imaginary shape measuring 4 by 2 by 2 kilometers, essentially a large 3-dimensional oval. Before Dragon is given permission to move inside of this ellipsoid, referred to by the teams as the AE, it is configured to be on what is known as a 24-hour safe trajectory. This means that if Dragon lost all control to its thrusters, it would be at least 24 hours before its orbital path would take it inside of the approach ellipsoid.
And once Dragon arrives at 400 meters below station, it will be at waypoint 0, the first checkpoint during our approach. The vehicle can hold at 400 meters or continue on if all systems check out to approach to waypoint 1. By this point, the teams will do a go, no-go for Dragon to move inside the keep-out sphere, another zone that consists of an imaginary sphere around station with a radius of 200 meters. It gives us another chance to confirm all of the guidance, navigation, and control systems are working correctly on Dragon before moving closer to station. And it carries a requirement similar to the AE that if Dragon's orbital trajectory would not bring it inside that...
SpaceX for suit doffing.
And go ahead for suit doffing.
Okay, at this time, cabin environments are looking good. So we can give you go for 4.012 and 4.300 for suit offing, and we are reconfiguring cameras now.
Okay, Dragon copies. We are go for 4.012, 4.300. And you're reconfiguring cameras, and then I want to confirm one more time on the thermal loop caution or warning. We are good that you do expect to clear both of those. Clear that caution.
That's affirmative, yeah. We're currently working on just cleaning up fitter. The response that occurred was both Loop Alpha and Bravo. They both saw the spike, which resulted both of them in tripping fitter, and then we filled over to basically a min.
Okay, which copy? You're cleaning up fitter right now, and so MS1 and pilot will be getting out of their seats and starting the suit docking.
All right, a lot there from Crew Dragon and the Core.
And Dragon SpaceX, I copied your last call. We were in a teacher's handover. Have some more words on procedure deltas.
And go ahead for procedure deltas.
On 4.012, note that the large outer bags to dispose the comfort garments are with the suit storage bags in location 17. And on 4.300, note that the waste duffel is already installed and steps 1.2 and 1.3 are complete.
Okay, we copy. Large outer bags are with the suits, and the waste bag is already installed.
Good read back, and I'll keep you posted as we clean up the TCS.
Drag cups.
Hearing it directly from the astronauts themselves. They are go to doff their suits. They've had them on for quite a while today, and they are able to get into some more comfortable clothes. And so, as you heard, they're also reconfiguring the cameras inside Crew Dragon to give them a little bit of privacy up there on orbit, as well as the thermal control system. They're working at clearing those issues, but everything so far looking good for Dragon.
Dragon's move from waypoint 0 to waypoint 1 will swing it up and out in front of the station, pausing at a distance of approximately 220 meters. At this point, it will be on what we call the docking axis, which essentially means that it's directly in front of the docking port. The crew is headed to the forwardmost port on the International Space Station, the Node 2 forward port. That is where Dragon docked for both our demonstration missions and where one of the 2 international docking adapters is located. These were installed for new commercial spacecraft flights and any other future spacecraft that also use the International Docking Standard.
And once Dragon is only 20 meters away at waypoint 2, the spacecraft focuses on aligning its docking system with the docking adapter. Dragon will then fly in and make contact with the IDA, giving us what we call soft capture. The soft capture ring then retracts until sensors indicate it's time for hooks to drive in place to give us a hard capture and firmly secure Dragon to station. And then it's time for leak checks and hatch opening, which is currently timelined to come about 2 hours following docking.
So we have a lot of action to cover for the next 27.5 hours. Let's head down to Mission Control Houston and check back in with Shaniqua Vereen to get a rundown of all the work being done on the station to prepare for Dragon's arrival. Shaniqua?
Thanks, Jesse. A lot of work has been done on the space station before we got to this day to make sure we're launching Dragon and this new crew to a fully functioning orbital laboratory. Several hours before the crew boarded Dragon, the space station team did their own go-no-go poll. There are several key systems we have to ensure are functioning properly before NASA can give a go for launch. One of the more obvious is making sure our life support systems are functioning normally. This includes the ability to turn water into oxygen for the astronauts to breathe, the ability to remove carbon dioxide exhaled by station crew into the atmosphere, and our water recovery system, which is now able to recycle about 90% of the water we send to station. We have redundant or backup systems on both the U.S. and Russian segments on the station, just in case we need to take something offline for repairs. The teams also made sure that there were no faults or issues with the station's power or cooling systems. The station's massive solar arrays generate electricity for all the hardware we have on board. All those electronics inevitably generate heat. We utilize an active cooling system using ammonia and radiators to keep everything running at a stable temperature. We also work with our Russian counterparts to ensure both means of controlling the station's attitude or
Dragon,
which way it's
SpaceX
pointing are fully functional. On the U.S. side, we have large gyroscopes spinning in the station's truss that are used to stabilize and orient the station on a day-to-day basis. On the Russian segment, we have large thrusters that can be called upon to use fuel stored on board to maintain the station's attitude.
Alerts ahead of the burn.
Okay, we copy.
It's funny, Phoenix.
You're still working the TCS issue.
I also
Okay,
just
good
changed
copy, however,
into
that's not a
some
blocker.
comfy clothes. I suggest you all do the same. Thank you, Austin.
And say that again.
Yeah, copy on the TCS issue, however, that is not a blocker to the burn.
And we copy that.
We'll end up using both once it's time for Dragon to dock, switching to Russian thrusters in the final phases of approach, which can respond faster to any forces felt by station from Dragon's thrusters, and then back to gyroscopes, which are normally smoother and ensure Dragon's docking hooks can deploy successfully. Right now, the Expedition 64 crew aboard the station is still asleep, but they're scheduled to wake up at midnight here in Houston, 6 a.m. GMT on Monday to prepare for Dragon's docking.
This is the crew. Brilliant on the cabin mic, Tom.
NASA astronaut and Expedition 64 flight engineer Kate
Hello,
Rubins
Victor,
will
I've
be
got you
monitoring
loud and
Dragon's
clear on the
approach.
cabin mic.
How's it going, Jay? Great to hear your voice.
Likewise.
Thank you, Stevie. To become a member of the channel, go to the channel, youtube.com/reflectnews, and you'll see a little tab on the top that'll say membership. Click on that. That'll give you access. What members get is special access to videos. I'm also going to start putting members in the credits on videos. And that special access includes getting videos just a few minutes early. And that'll give me a chance to interact with members
But
only.
as I was stating, flight engineer Kate Rubins will be monitoring Dragon's approach using special software to make sure Dragon is flying in the expected areas, and she will be on standby to help in any abort scenarios. Once docked, she'll be primed for setting up the hardware on the station side to get ready for hatch opening and pre-positioning some ducting that we'll use to integrate Dragon's atmosphere with the rest of
Awesome.
the
This
station.
is like the baseball cards of astronauts. How cool is this?
So a lot of work done already, and the station team
Dragon
remains
SpaceX
ready for Dragon to
for
arrive
status.
in just about 27.5 hours. For now, back over to Jesse and Leah to take us through the next steps for Dragon.
they're all
Yeah,
flying
we
by
are
the
going
seat of
to
their
take
pants,
commands
literally.
to,
All right, guys.
clear
So
the
who's
fault
ready for a
flag on loop Bravo,
27-hour stream?
And then loop
You guys are all
Alpha, and
down,
actually
right?
put both loops running at half speed.
Thanks, Shaniqua. We are.
Okay, you're going to clear the fault on Bravo, then Alpha, then they should both be running at half speed for nominal ops.
Good copy, and we're putting that in work now.
Dragon.
And it sounds like they were discussing those TCS thermal control system issues. They are putting both Loop A and Loop Bravo, Loop B, at 50% so that they can run nominal operations. But looks like we are getting ready to move into the phase burn.
Yes, we are. So we're waiting for Dragon to move into that phase burn. And as we mentioned earlier, there are 5 major burns where Draco thrusters will ignite and bring the spacecraft close to the station before we begin final approach maneuvers. Our initial orbit after Dragon separated from Falcon 9 was 210 by 190 kilometers. Those values represent the orbit apogee, or the highest point over the Earth, and the perigee, or the lowest point over the Earth. That means that the orbit isn't a perfect circle, and we're going to see Dragon raise its orbit using the Draco thrusters over the coming hours as it chases down the space station.
So as we mentioned, the first major burn is the phase burn, which is performed at the first apogee of the initial orbit and raises Dragon
SpaceX settling.
Oh, cool. So do you guys see that the woman on the left is supposed to be like the SpaceX rep, and the woman on the right is the NASA rep? Cool. I just got that. Just made that connection.
Okay, Dragon copies. We are into the settling burns, and Wilco on minimize movement during the actual burn.
And still preparing for that burn, but it'll raise Dragon's perigee, the lowest point of its orbit, to a higher altitude.
Welcome, welcome.
This burn will use the Draco thrusters located on the forward bulkhead. That's the very top of Dragon under the nose cone, which is now deployed. It'll also use the thrusters around the service section, or the lower part of the Dragon capsule. The thrusters located on the bulkhead are primarily used for these delta velocity burns, which will gradually raise Dragon's orbit over the coming hours.
Dragon SpaceX for TCS.
And go ahead for
beautiful shot from the International Space Station.
Loop Alpha is back up, looking nominal right now. We're going to
daytime shots. Has anyone seen any land down there? Can we actually here? Let's do this. Let's find out where the space station is right now. I put that link up there. Spot the ISS. Let's see where it is.
Good readback. Yeah, and this is the nominal configuration.
All right. Let's see. Where is it now? Okay, quick. Anybody have any guesses before you look it up?
The core crew operations
and Dragon SpaceX, just for timeline awareness, burn is in about just under 1 minute.
It looks like it is going. Oh, actually.
And copy that. We see it starts in 40 seconds.
Let's see here.
And just for your awareness, both MS-1 and pilot are out of their suits, and they're getting them strapped into their seats this time.
Copy all.
And the phase burn should begin in just a few seconds from now. As you heard, the crew are still doffing their suits. They're allowed to continue moving around the capsule as long as they don't impart any forces on the capsule itself. Additionally, great news that the TCS thermal control system is in a nominal configuration, as they suspected that pump is still functional, and so Crew Dragon continues its journey to the International Space Station. Looking good.
Yeah. Now, in addition to those 4 bulkhead Draco thrusters that Leah was mentioning earlier, there are 12 more Dracos in the service section, which
so it looks like it's in the South Pacific
part of the Dragon capsule. These will be used in every burn and are primarily there to help maintain Dragon's altitude, which is especially important when doing the finely tuned approach into docking. They can also be used for smaller transitional maneuvers
like
as well.
City, and then it's going to traverse from about the Gulf of Mexico, about Texas, up through like Ohio, Pennsylvania, West Virginia,
pretty impressive,
and then
I have to
up
say. That's
through
the International Space Station. That's from the International Space
Maine,
Station.
Rhode Island.
Solar arrays specifically, and it's currently flying. Let's see here over the South Pacific Ocean.
It's night over the Atlantic, right? So this is we're still seeing daylight. So
Crew Dragon is continuing its pursuit of the International Space Station, and that's where you can find it right now.
Beautiful. Look at those shots.
Still
of
awaiting
Earth.
confirmation of the beginning of the
never gets
phase
old.
burn.
Beautiful.
And actually,
beautiful.
Phase burn has begun. We are a minute underway, so good news there. And it should last about 9.5 minutes, as we mentioned, raising the perigee, or the lowest point of Dragon's current orbit, to a higher altitude. We've got a lot of milestones coming up. You know, there were a lot in the countdown to the mission, but there is still a lot to go as it continues its approach to the space station. The next really major milestone comes at 1:10 a.m. Pacific time. Oh, and we're getting words that the burn is proceeding nominally, so that's good. But tomorrow morning, actually, it'll be 4:10 a.m. Pacific time, or Eastern time. The Crew Dragon crew will get some much-needed shut-eye. It's been a long day for them. And we
I
try
don't know.
not to
I
really
just
do
don't
any
think I
burns
could
while they're
sleep.
asleep. We want to give them the opportunity to sleep, because those burns, you know, it might be a little bit loud, might wake them up. So the next burn will be the boost burn. That won't come until 8:20 a.m. Pacific or 11:20 a.m. Eastern time. So those are just a couple of the things we can look forward to on Dragon's journey to the International Space Station. As we mentioned, though, those are just 2 of the 5 burns. We'll also have the close burn. That comes at 9:02 a.m. Pacific, 12:02
Oh,
p.m.
Stevie, yeah.
Eastern.
I mean,
The transfer burn.
how do you
at
sleep?
2:45 Pacific and 5:45
Your first
Eastern,
trip up to
and
the
then
ISS.
co-elliptic burn. Once these burns, these major burns, are complete, we'll be done with the rendezvous phase, and then we'll move into the approach initiation phase. So as we mentioned, we are in the phase burn right now. We're getting good information that phase burn is proceeding nominally. It's about a 9.5 minute burn.
Now, I imagine that
Afterward, that's actually raising Dragon's perigee, the lowest part of its orbit, as we mentioned, and that'll put us in place for the boost burn.
what I imagine is that those ellipses show pretty dramatic variable changes or altitude changes, but I think that graphic makes it seem as a little extreme, the altitude shift. I think we're talking a matter of feet here.
Roughly co-elliptic with the space station. That means that 10-kilometer orbit below station will be where Dragon stays around the Earth. Afterward, we have the transfer burn. That will adjust Dragon's apogee, the highest point of its orbit, to just 2.5 kilometers lower than the station orbit. And then the final co-elliptic burn about 45 minutes after the transfer burn, putting Dragon into an orbit co-elliptic with the station.
And again, Stevie, that
kilometers below it the entire way around the Earth. As we mentioned, after
that variable altitude, that can go either up or down. I mean, essentially what they're doing is they're trying to chase that line, right? I mean, the ISS is on a line, and so they're trying to get. They're going to try to approach that, and it's going to take them, right? Like a little bit of time to track that, I guess you could say. But
maneuver to get to the station is very important to make sure that
it'll be beautiful, and I wish we could see that. I wish we could see the trajectory of the ISS and the trajectory of that rocket.
Extremely precise.
Absolutely.
And that's what they're talking about. The burns is what is going to get them to
I think
walk
they're
up
ready
to
for a meal.
yes, show them eating.
A few minutes here, about 12 minutes at 5:30 p.m. Pacific time. The crew will have their first meal on board
10
Dragon.
minutes.
And they have enough food on board Dragon for 12 meals, each along with snacks for the trip up. And these are MREs, or meals ready to eat. They're essentially prepackaged meals ready for consumption without any heating or additional ingredients. And they also have
they don't have space for a microwave up there.
14.5 gallons of water with them.
At least not on
these
not
are
on
a
the
little bit different.
on the
Actually,
rocket.
they might be a good bit different from their food that they can expect on the International Space Station. MREs, like you said, meals ready to eat. They don't require any work, which sounds like a dream sometimes
Phoenix.
to me personally. I love that kind of food.
No cooking.
I was reading your comment going,
oh, and they can
was
eat
it
their
good?
dinner. Whereas on the International Space Station, we have thermostabilized food for some of the options.
Why not
And,
just bring like packets of sugar
there's a
with
small
like
nozzle
some
on each package, and they
marshmallows
can
in it
plug
or
that
something
into
and
a
just
water source, which will they can turn it to the correct temperature setting that reads on the package, and put the water in. Now mesh it around a little bit, make sure it gets all of the food heated up, and then it's ready to eat. So that system isn't on Crew Dragon because it's really only for short destinations. So MREs for now.
Yeah, it sounds very convenient with that small space inside of Dragon that they don't have to do all that cooking and rehydrating of their food. They can just pull out their food and eat it right then and there.
Yeah, and it also means you don't have to wait on everybody else to heat up their food before you get to heat up your food. So everybody can eat dinner at the same time. And a reminder, we are still in the phase burn. And a little under 3 minutes left. Dracos are looking good. Burn is proceeding nominally. It was a 9.5-minute burn. We are standing by for more information as we continue. This burn, as we said, will raise the apogee, the highest point of Dragon's orbit, to 10 kilometers lower than the International Space Station. That beautiful view on the right-hand side.
That's me, man. What are you talking about? Stoned out of his mind? I am definitely not stoned out of my mind, but thanks for the the guy on the left of your screen. Yeah, so Phoenix, have you watched there's a guy who does he eats MRE bags from like World War II. Like and he'll, you know, these things are they're falling apart, and he opens them and he actually like eats them. And I'll try to find some links for you guys, but his reactions to some of these things that he puts in his mouth are like, oh my goodness.
We are
Beautiful
just
shot
waiting
from the
on
ISS.
that phase burn to complete. It is about a 9-minute burn.
I mean, unless that is from the actual Falcon 9.
We'll wait for that call out and that confirmation.
I'm curious to see
Everything we've heard so far
where
is
we're
that the
at
burn
here.
is proceeding nominally. All of the Dracos are performing well. The first of 5 major burns for the crew on their way to the International Space Station. International Space Station will be their home for the next 6 months, and a really interesting fact is this
6 months.
flight today makes Soichinoguchi only the 3rd person ever to fly on 3 different spacecraft. So he has flown on the space shuttle, on a Russian Soyuz, and now Crew Dragon, and the only other 2 people who have done
what a
that
vet.
are Wally Schirra and John Young. So
Wow,
he's
what a
joining
vet.
a very
Cool.
select few with this milestone.
It's amazing. We are still waiting for that phase burn confirmation. We are getting some really awesome views of Earth.
Yeah, that never gets old.
I wonder what the crew members are thinking, especially Victor, if this is his first time, you know, in space, seeing the world in this view here. That's incredible.
Dragon SpaceX, nominal burn.
Okay, we copy nominal burn, and we'll be getting into 4.300 here shortly.
Copy, getting into 4.300 shortly, and we can confirm there will be no out-of-plane burn.
Okay, copy that. No out-of-plane burns.
And there's that confirmation of that phase burn is complete and nominal.
And we won't be needing the out-of-plane burn either, which would be in case Crew Dragon needed its journey adjusted just a little bit, so it sounds like they are on the right path as well. But yes, good confirmation of the phase burn, the first of 5 major burns as Crew Dragon makes its way to the International Space Station. So we do have 27 hours, and we would love to answer some of your questions on social media. So if you're curious about some aspect of today's crew mission, please submit your question with the hashtag AskNASA, and we'll try our best to answer it. This first one comes from Nico, who wants to know why it takes about 27 hours to reach the space station on this flight compared with about 8 hours if we had launched yesterday. And I think the key word is phasing. It really just depends on phasing, but also it doesn't necessarily take Crew Dragon 27 hours to reach the International Space Station. It just takes long enough that our crew is going to need a sleep period in that time. So we had to factor in a sleep period. That way they are alert and cognizant and ready to step in case anything needed to be done manually on the mission. So it is a bit longer, but we're here for the whole thing, and you can join us.
Sounds very smart that they plan in sleep, because I don't know if I was went all day, 24 hours trying to make it to the station and then trying to function. So I'm glad that they'll get some rest in during their trip there.
Absolutely. Another good question, the Crew Dragon of the Crew 1 mission, is this a new capsule or is this the refurbished DM2 vehicle? You want to take that?
This is a brand new vehicle for Crew 1. We did not refurbish Demo 2 for this specific mission. So it is a brand new capsule. These are the first 4 astronauts that get to fly on this vehicle. So it must be really exciting for them to get to fly on not only a new spacecraft, but a new vehicle itself as well.
Absolutely, and very cool is that the Demo 2 vehicle, Endeavor, which is what Bob Behnken and Doug Hurley named it, that will be the vehicle for Crew 2 coming up next year. And so I also learned that it will keep its name, Endeavor. The new crew won't rename it moving forward, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that actually is going to be a really exciting flight, because we will also be refurbishing the first stage booster on today's flight for Crew 2 as well.
As we get some more beautiful views from the International Space Station on the right-hand side. Let's see, it's currently flying. It's actually about to enter.
What was the
orbital
hashtag that they
sunset,
wanted?
Orbital nighttime,
I'm going to try to
say.
send them some tweets, guys. So what should we ask them? I was thinking maybe like, what is the temperature inside the vehicle?
16
right?
Inside a day. So while it
inside the rocket
right now, it's coming up toward Mexico.
Can they bring their own clothes? We were talking about, Phoenix was talking about how they're going to be changing into their own clothes or into more comfortable clothes. Do they get to bring those clothes? Do they have to pass inspection? Or does NASA say, look, here's a sweatshirt, here's sweatpants, which I'm sure they do. Too far to smell in space. Oh, Ulysses. Oh, man.
But I was mentioning it's, oh, and a really cool view right now. You can see the Cygnus resupply, commercial resupply spacecraft.
That's what I thought,
Phoenix. International Space Station, those 2 solar arrays that look like symbols, makes it really easy to spot. And that actually brought up some of the science that Crew 1 is going to be working on while they're on the space station. We'll chat a little bit more about that later.
Awesome. So we have another question here from NASA. At NASA, when do you get to contact family when in space?
That's a good question, and you know, it's very fortunate. The astronauts, I've actually heard many say, especially if they were in the military, they were able to speak with their families more on the space station than they were, you know, while deployed sometimes. And so they get the opportunity to FaceTime, or I guess.
And SpaceX from Dragon, pursuit off steps.
Dragon, SpaceX, go ahead.
Hey Jay, as we mentioned earlier, MS1 and pilot are complete with their suit doffing. We've completed 4.300, and Commander and MS2 are going off umbilicals at this time to start the suit doffing.
Copy, MS1 pilot complete, and Commander and MS2 are starting their suit offing now and complete with 4.300. And I'm ready for that burn.
And I'm ready. Okay, yeah, go ahead and give us the words on the burn.
Okay, the boost burn is as scheduled, currently showing 16:20:42 UTC. However, ahead of that time, we may or may not take additional phase burns or out of plane burns, but we're not currently, there's nothing the vehicle's planning right now.
Okay, we copy. So the next burn is currently that boost burn at 16:20. However, there could be some additional burns in between, but nothing at this time.
Correct, and we'll keep you posted if that changes.
Dragon copies. Hey, Jay, one last thing.
Go ahead.
Yeah, the view's beautiful.
Yeah, I thought he was getting
Outstanding. Yeah, take lots of pictures for us.
Oh,
also
awesome.
Some words for you from C.
Awesome.
Okay, copy, and we are ready for the words from CE.
Yeah, resilience. On behalf of SpaceX, thanks for flying Falcon and Dragon, and safe travels.
And thanks, Han, to the entire Falcon 9 team. Well done. That was one heck of a ride. There was a lot of smiles. I don't know if you could see on the video. But also to the SpaceX recovery and launch teams and all of the NASA teams and DoD teams. You know, we wouldn't be up here in Leo without your support. Making history is definitely hard, and you guys all made it look easy. And again, congratulations to everyone. Resilience is in orbit.
Thank you so much, and travel safely.
Thank you.
Some amazing words from the crew on board, and what you're looking at on your screen is actually live views from Dragon itself, from Resilience right now. So we are getting to see what the crew is seeing as well on board.
And they did say it was beautiful, and I have to agree. I don't know if there's ever a time you're flying over and it's not beautiful.
Right.
So it has to be a very interesting first flight for Victor, and getting to share it with people he's very close with is really cool too.
Right, I can't even imagine.
So getting back to Rohan's question, when do you get to contact family when in space? As I mentioned, the astronauts do have scheduled times they can video chat with their families. They also have a phone which they can dial their families from up there. So they get to talk with them pretty frequently, sometimes daily, and I think maybe weekly for the video conferences.
Yeah, it sounds really convenient, and probably something that they could really use while they're away for 6 months. And it sounds like they'll get to video chat. At least they've gotten some practice with the pandemic doing video chatting. So hopefully they're used to it, but really amazing that
they use Zoom calls.
Communicate with their families
in space.
Back on Earth.
That's cool.
I know, I was thinking the same thing. It's been very similar this year. You know, we're all getting a little taste of what it's like to be an astronaut on a long duration mission and having to be just a little bit isolated, you know, in your own space for an extended period of time, and life just becomes much more virtual.
All right,
so
Willie, let's ask
I
him.
think we can understand just a little bit more what it's like to be in their shoes or their suits.
Right. Now again, the next milestone coming up is their crew meal. We are waiting for them to start their meal as they watch this amazing view. That's what you see on your screen. This is the view from Dragon.
Oh, awesome.
Resilience.
Cool.
This is what the crew members get to see on their way to the International Space Station.
Yeah, and they're still getting into their more comfortable clothes right now before we get into that meal. And I'm not sure what they're having for dinner, but I heard what they had for breakfast. And it sounded pretty delicious, whether it was a medium rare steak, I heard, I think a medium burger, some curry.
Right.
I'm having a really easy time remembering all of these things because
I'm ready
they
for
sound
dinner.
so good.
Again, we are waiting for the crew to finish getting out of their suits and getting comfortable and getting ready for their midday meal.
Guys, I mean, come on.
One of
We all know what they're doing. They're flying. They're flying up and down that vehicle, enjoying 0G. I mean, come on. That's why NASA's playing it coy. Oh yeah, we're just waiting for him to come back to us. Check back in, and they're like they're pushing each other and launching each other back and forth. You know that.
Getting settled in,
you know that's what's
out of
happening.
those suits and looking forward.
That's what
to
I'd be doing. That's what I'd be screwing
that hour
around.
went by so fast. I feel like we just lifted off. But yeah, I'm waiting
Phoenix.
for the crew to start their midday meal. They are getting comfortable inside of Dragon now that.
Oh, and I'm sure that they're
so out of their suits into some more comfortable clothes.
Their brains are just going wild. You know, feelings that they've never felt before.
Earlier, they are meals that
yeah,
they don't
they're
have
just
to rehydrate. They don't need to heat up. They could just pull them out and just start eating.
Feelings of
what that is. But,
yeah,
a
anti-gravity.
good
I mean,
on
that's
the right side of your screen is Mission Control Hawthorne, and that's the teams that
when do you ever get to feel that?
Over all of the Crew Dragon systems. We also have Mission Control Houston in Houston, Texas, and that's NASA's Mission Control Center. And a good view of Mission Control Houston. Feels a little bit like home for me. But they will really come into play tomorrow once we begin joint operations as the Crew Dragon gets a little bit closer to the International Space Station, because then we have two vehicles in play. We've got the International Space Station when we've got Crew Dragon. So our teams here are monitoring the International Space Station. Teams in Hawthorne really still looking over Crew Dragon systems.
Yeah, you guys have some questions.
And if you're just now joining us, we did have an on-time liftoff of our Crew 1 mission today, and now we are coasting on Dragon. We are waiting for the crew to start their midday meal as they are getting comfortable inside of Dragon right now as they coast towards the International Space Station.
Yeah, and just a little bit of a reminder, you know, it's been a little bit since we talked about who's on our crew. We've got all of their first names out there, but Victor Glover, he's the pilot of the spacecraft. This is his first space flight, and he was selected in 2013. And so his training takes a couple of years. Any astronaut training takes a couple of years. And he was officially an astronaut in 2015. He was he was also a commander in the U.S. Navy. So he was a naval aviator. He was a test pilot in the FA-18 Hornet, and he mentioned earlier in the video we watched about him all of the hours he had flying, but this being the first time he'll get to go over a certain altitude and actually reach space. So I know
certain
it's a
altitude.
huge milestone for him today.
Yeah, the dude's in space.
That exact number, that exact height.
A certain altitude.
So he's reached new heights. I wonder what he's feeling right now.
I can only imagine. And it's been a little while since they ate. I think I heard somebody joking about, I hope they weren't too nervous, but it's been a while. I'm sure he's fine. Mike Hopkins is the commander of the spacecraft. He's sitting next to Victor. We are looking right to left. He's sitting on Victor's left, but our right of Victor. He was selected in 2009, and he has spent 166 days in space already aboard the International Space Station. So feels like home to him, I'm sure. He was part of the Expedition 3738 crew. And he was a colonel in the U.S. Air Force as well. So those are our military folks aboard the spacecraft. We have Victor, who is in the Navy, and we have Mike, who is in the Air Force.
Yeah.
And additionally, Shannon Walker, she was selected in 2004. She's a Houston native, so she didn't really have to relocate to come work at Johnson Space Center. She holds a doctorate of philosophy in space physics, which is incredibly impressive to me. And she began her career as a robotics flight controller for the International Space Station. So she was very familiar with the space station, and then she actually lived there. She spent 163 days on station. In 2010, she was part of Expedition 24 and 25. And I think it says something about, you know, we're 20 years on the space station now as of November 2nd. And now we're on Expedition 64, so we've come quite a long way. And our next crew member is actually one of our international partners. He's with the Japanese Aerospace Exploration Agency. That is Soichinoguchi. He apparently is the funniest one on the crew, according to all of the crew members. And just from watching their videos together, I think I agree. He's pretty funny. He was selected as an astronaut in 1996, and he's actually flown, as we mentioned, on the space shuttle. He flew on STS-114. And that was in 2005. He did 3 spacewalks then. And then he became the first Japanese astronaut to perform a spacewalk at the space station. So he's racking up the titles now.
I know.
Because he also flew in 2010 as Expedition 2223 and spent 163 days in space then. That was aboard a Soyuz. And then today, he's now flying on Crew Dragon. So he is now one of 3 people to have ever flown on 3 spacecraft.
Got a lot of experience. That sounds pretty amazing and pretty hard to do, I would assume. Well, let's take some more social questions. But if you have any questions that you'd like us to answer, please at NASA and use the hashtag #AskNASA. And maybe we'll get to read your question and be able to answer it. So we've got one here. How many different sections make up the ISS?
Well, it's very interesting. The ISS, or the International Space Station, if you're watching, this is kind of, it's not in flux by any means. It is complete, but we are seeing new pieces continuing to be added, like the Bigelow Expandable Activity Module. That is, as it sounds, an expandable module attached to the International Space Station. And then we're also going to have a brand new airlock added. So the number continues to grow, but it's owned by, I guess you could say, different countries around the world. It really is international. You know, we have a European module, we have the U.S. modules, we have Russian modules, we have the Canada arm, and others I'm sure I'm forgetting. So it's quite large. It's actually the same interior volume of a Boeing 747. If you took all the seats out of a Boeing 747, I think I could make myself comfortable.
And just goes to show you how important teamwork is, right? We have all these countries working together, and that makes up the International Space Station, which is incredible. And now we have more crew members, a diverse set of crew members on their way to join the other astronauts on board the International Space Station.
This next question, what is the difference between previous missions and the current mission, apart from the number of astronauts? So as we saw earlier this year, DM2, actually DM stands for demonstration mission. So that was still a test flight. We had Bob Behnken and Doug Hurley live on the International Space Station for a couple of months. But this time, Crew Dragon is certified as a vehicle that can fly to and from the International Space Station. It's not a test anymore. This is the real deal for these 4 astronauts. Another, I think, very interesting thing is it is in relation to the number of astronauts, but this is the first ever 4-person capsule.
Right.
So that's a pretty interesting difference in this mission.
Right, and the capsule is made to have up to 7 crew members, but this mission has 4. And also another difference between Demo 2 and this mission is that Bob and Doug actually had, because it was a test flight, they actually did have some work to do while they were coasting to the International Space Station, whereas today the crew members are actually enjoying their ride most of the time all the way to the station, since this is an official commercial flight. So we've got another question. How many times has the Falcon 9 that was used today been launched? Well, this was a brand new first stage booster, so it's only been launched once, and just an hour ago, about a little over an hour ago. But we are very excited that we are planning to use this same booster for Crew 2 next spring. So that will be its second launch, but just to answer the question, this booster has only launched one time.
And this one, why do they stay up in the space station for 6 months? Well, we are looking to go to the moon and Mars, and the best place to test out what it's like to live for an extended period of time in microgravity is here in low Earth orbit, because I'm not going to say easy, it's never easy to get anywhere in space, but it's not as difficult to get to and from the space station as it would be to get to and from the moon or to and from Mars. And so living that long on the International Space Station gives us the opportunity to evaluate how astronauts' bodies adapt when they are in microgravity for that amount of time. That helps us prepare for those long duration missions. Additionally, because they're very busy, they've got hundreds of science experiments that they're working on at any one time. Over the past 20 years, we've completed over 3,000 science experiments aboard the International Space Station, and so many of them really benefit life on Earth. So they may be up there for a while, but it's all for a very good reason.
Yeah, it sounds like a 2-for-1. If you're going to go out to Mars, that is a much longer journey, much harder to get back to Earth. So I think these small, almost short sprints in comparison, even though it's 6 months, 6 months is a long time to us, it does make sense. It's like training to get ready for these longer missions, right?
And we're still just waiting for the crew members to have their dinner. And as we mentioned, we're taking these Ask NASA questions. So if you have one, use that hashtag AskNASA on Twitter. We'll be on the lookout. Another one, what is the most crowded the International Space Station has ever been? And the number is 13. So we had 6 expedition crew members and then 7 on a space shuttle docked to the International Space Station. And when our crew members arrive tomorrow, they will more than double the current residents on the International Space Station. There are currently 3 people on board. We've got Sergei Kutsverchkov, Sergei Rizikov of the Roscosmos Russian Space Agency. We've got astronaut Kate Rubins on board, and so adding 4 tomorrow makes 7, which we have not had 7 long-duration crew members on the International Space Station in quite a while.
7 doesn't sound too bad compared to 13, so hopefully they have enough space to be able to, maneuver around for the next 6 months.
That's funny. So I have been tweeting at NASA, guys, and I've asked them, and Phoenix, you're so awesome for answering Penny's questions, but I have sent those questions, Penny, on behalf of your 10-year-old, over to NASA. What does it feel like inside the spaceship? And also, I've asked, out of the 3,000 experiments they just talked about, what is their favorite experiment that they've heard of conducted on board the International Space Station, and what is the temperature in the vehicle. And also, Penny, I did send them a tweet, how long does it take to become an astronaut, which interestingly they kind of talked about with the captain of the ship, saying that he was a former he was in the Air Force, I believe, and then he became an astronaut in 2015 after 2 years of training. So yeah, hopefully, let's keep our fingers crossed. Hopefully they answer our tweets. That'd be awesome. Yes, Phoenix. I know that very well from the movie Gravity. Sandra Bullock's character was not in the military. She was a researcher, which is one of my favorite movies, by the way. Gravity. Phoenix, I'm interested to hear what you have to say about the movie Gravity. Haunted by the Truth. Man. Thank you for stopping by and saying that, man. Awesome. Thank you so much for your comments. I watched Gravity 3 times in the theater. I was so that final scene, spoiler alert, that final scene, I was just all about it. Turn up the volume. Okay, we can do that.
Everything looking well for Dragon, and we will not have a burn until tomorrow morning. So quite a bit of time in between that we're going to let the crew get a meal, get some sleep, and then wake up early tomorrow and get ready for their arrival to their new home on the space station.
Right, and as you mentioned earlier, if they do tread the course or go a little bit off course, they will use some extra phase burns if needed, but so far everything is looking good for that next burn.
26 hours from now.
Burn.
Fire alarm.
We've got another question. Do the astronauts
it was 27 like a half an hour ago, so
the Dragon to sleep, or are they sleeping in their chairs?
They actually are sleeping in their chairs. Yeah. They can take off those foot restraints and stow those, so that's an option.
Terrible.
It also gives them a little more room to float around inside the capsule, and it's a little more crowded this time with 4 people instead of just 2, and so we have we'll have that opportunity. They also have some window covers that they can put up inside Crew Dragon, because as we mentioned, they're going around the Earth every 90 minutes.
Right.
And that would really mess with your circadian rhythm if you couldn't get some good shut-eye, some good darkness for that full time. And so instead of going in and out of sunlight every 45 minutes, they're going to put up those window covers and hopefully feel like a real nighttime, get some real sleep.
Yeah, and just as a reminder, these are custom seats for them, so they are made for each one of the crew members, so they should be pretty comfortable, I would hope. So they should be able to get some good sleep, knowing that they are custom fitted for each crew member on board.
I love that answer, Phoenix.
So we have another question from John. How do they do laundry on the ISS? That's a really great question.
I love this question because I wish the answer was true for me. The answer is they don't. They don't do laundry on the International Space Station. They simply throw out their clothes. So,
oh wow,
I know. So they can wear them a certain amount of times, and they may choose to bring some back with them.
Nina.
However, typically older, dirty clothes they can put on the commercial resupply vehicles that do not splash down or that just burn up in space. So there's not really a trash can. There's not a laundry machine on the space station. They put them inside of those vehicles that burn up in the atmosphere, and that takes care of that.
So if you don't like doing laundry, become
crap.
an astronaut.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
wow.
A good point.
Really?
I could do that.
Or if you guys don't like doing laundry and you're younger,
ISS?
Your parents are giving you crap, you just say.
You mentioned this earlier. They can only take approved items
and then
with
you just
them.
take a match and you burn your laundry. I'm joking.
The
don't do
bring
that.
With them.
A lot of astronauts choose to bring photos, and they'll put photos up because they have a very small, I guess you could call it bedroom. It's called crew quarters, but it's very small, and they put the photos, on the walls, remind them of home. It's probably their family, their friends, and these are personal items, so we don't necessarily always know what it is. But I've also seen, pieces of jewelry or just special mementos to them if they want to take to low Earth orbit and bring back. So those are just a few of the things that they've taken before.
And again, we are just waiting for the crew
Phoenix,
to begin their midday
meal.
So far,
like,
we've had an on-time liftoff of our Crew 1 mission.
Can you imagine right now,
the astronauts are
knowing
on
what we know, being where we are,
right now, coasting
time
along
traveling,
to the International Space
right? Like
Station.
it was
We did
like Back to the Future was one thing,
burn,
right?
And the next burn planned
Can
is
you
the
imagine what a
boost
Back to
burn.
the Future would be like?
So we are just waiting
now,
for
like
the
that's
crew
the movie
to
that I want to
start their
see.
meal.
I want to
Yes,
see
so after their meal,
a Back
they
to the
will
Future
get to go to
2020
sleep.
style.
Sleep should come around 2:25
this stuff
a.m.
is-
Pacific
I mean,
time.
what we're all
That would be
experiencing is just-
5:25 a.m. Eastern time. Hopefully,
What is
fingers
going
crossed,
on?
they get a good 8 hours of
What is
rest
going
after a busy day like today. Hopefully, they won't have a hard time falling asleep. But being in microgravity is pretty exciting, so I don't know if I could sleep.
Right.
So we'll be looking for them to have that meal, have a good 8 hours of sleep before the next burn tomorrow morning, the boost burn.
Well, no, but well, Phoenix, hold on, don't box us in here, right? Like, no, I'm talking about you could use your time travel because we're in 2020 now, right?
We will
so
be
you could
back.
use your time travel.
What you'll see on your screen is
you could use your time travel to jump in and out of time. So if they were to ever come after you, then you could just bounce, right? Because you'd have your iPhone and it would have like Phoenix. What I'm saying is like this is an app that you download. Time travel is an app, and so imagine this, right? Imagine if it's crazy and like everybody's time traveling, right? And so you're like you run into other time travelers and you're like, holy shit! Like you're wearing a Biden 2020 shirt, whatever, Trump. That'd be funny. A Biden 2020 supporter is like they run into a Trump like supporter like in the Renaissance and like they're trying to escape the mob and they have to work together. Fucking hilarious. But anyway, like it's an app, so like you can never really run into trouble unless they like take your device from you, right? But like it's an app, so you're just like, all right, time travel. Like I want to go to whenever, you know what I mean? John, you astronauts don't do laundry, mom. Astronauts pee in their seats. I love it. Yeah. You're just gonna walk around in your pee stained jeans there, huh, Bobby? No. Oh man, we are getting some NZ Fight for All Life has some interesting questions. Fire alarm, how many hours they sleep? That's, so they have about 26 hours till they dock. So I'm gonna probably say they're gonna sleep for, I don't know, I'd probably say like 5 or 6. They're probably already like, because they want to maximize their time in the International Space Station, they're only going to be there for 6 months. They're probably only going to sleep. They're probably going to train themselves to sleep like 5 or 6 hours a night so that they can constantly be doing research and be, working, right? So, but that's a good question. Eric, they probably took some Ambien. I mean, that's what we were saying earlier. Like, how do you sleep? How do you sleep? Knowing that you're going to be blasting off into space. So, just real quick, for anybody who's joining in or anybody who's wondering what's going on, NASA's just taking a quick break. They're getting ready for their meal. They also had some issues. They had an issue with some pressure building in one of their systems. So they went to a backup system, which probably delayed the dinner that they were planning to have. The dinner was going to be 8:30 East Coast, 5:30 West Coast, and it seems as though possibly, I mean, we kind of, the stream inside the inside the Dragon, inside the rocket, it cut out about half an hour ago, and so we don't we're hoping that everything is okay. We're not worried, or we're not being overly, anxious, but they're dealing with some technical difficulties, I guess you would say. And so we're waiting for them to come back so that they can enjoy a dinner, and also give the broadcast crew just a little bit of time to step away. They've been broadcasting this for hours, and so we're just kind of hanging out, and we're just kind of waiting for the crew to come back in. That is neither George Foreman or Mike Tyson. That is Muhammad Ali behind me. So yeah, so I'm going to be just kind of be hanging out in the comments and waiting to see. Also, guys, the NASA crew is responding to hashtag Ask NASA. They're answering questions. So if you want to ask NASA any questions on Twitter, go ahead and do that. Hashtag Ask NASA at NASA. Or you can just put them in the comments. And what I've been doing is I've been relaying those messages. So you can do that. And also, yeah, I'm just going to kind of be in the comments, just hanging out until we come back. Yeah, so that's Muhammad in the background. That's Muhammad hit Sonny Liston and put him down in the first round, first minute. The 25th of May, 1965. Yeah. So do I think there are space aliens watching our ship flying above our planet? I don't know, but Phoenix, did you see the New York Times release the videos of our Air Force videoing UFOs? I mean, they had no idea what they were doing. Let's try to find that. Let's just watch it. Okay, can you guys see this? Come on. What are these guys talking about? I want the actual footage. Ugh. Because the video is pretty good. Because these guys are like, what is going on? Yeah, let's see if ABC's got it for us. No. Ah. Turn that off real quick. Oi. Mm. Yeah, okay. All right, I got it, guys. Okay, can you hear this? They're talking about the tracking. Okay, we're watching that again. It's rotating. What? Oh, space is a trip. This whole thing is a trip. Oh. Like, that's not too bad. The first one is what is just like, what is going on? There's a fleet of them. They're going against the wind. It's rotating. Come on. Freaking me out. Bridget, hey. Good to see you. Bridget, you can't help friends when we're launching astronauts into space. What's wrong with you? So, I've had, personally, one pretty weird experience with UFOs. It was, so I lived in Oceanside, California, which is, it's home to a large military base. Like, the biggest, I think, Marine Corps base in the United States. And I saw, it was a cloudy night. I had actually a balcony that overlooked overlooked the ocean, and it was a cloudy night, and a red light was above the clouds, and the clouds weren't like really thick or anything. There's the marine layer here in Southern California is some evenings it can be a really just thin layer of moisture and clouds, and there was a red light that was traveling east to west, pretty much out to the middle of the ocean at speeds that could not have possibly been anything that that we've created. I mean, no plane, no jet. You think of your fastest F-16, whatever. It was not that. I don't have it on video. I didn't have a clear view of it because of that cloud cover, but that was my girlfriend at the time. I was like so excited to tell her, and she kind of gave me like one of those like, yeah, Yeah, Brendan, like that's what you saw, and I couldn't. I don't know. I couldn't. You know, what do you say when you think you've seen you know, an alien spacecraft? I don't know. So again, we are just waiting for how many? Let's see here. How many? Yeah. This has my, yeah, we're good. Yeah, do I sound okay? Is my mic, I don't want to be too loud, but. Yeah, we're just kind of waiting for him. Anyone else? Anyone have any UFO stories? Awesome, thank you, Bridget. There we go. Alarm Man, thank you for subscribing. Yeah, Phoenix, I'm just going back to the comments. See, we're seeing more of these videos being released because people are, yeah, they have their phones. Yep, that's a good point. Unstoppable Gaming, hello. John Carlos Campos, thank you for telling me what's up. Jason, how are you? Cool. Sweet. Unacknowledged. Ooh. I've always liked that word. Acknowledge. And that's also got to be a hard one for people who don't speak English as a first language. ACK, that acknowledged. I don't know. Anyone else with me? Do I believe in telepathy? Oh, I don't know. I think there is some weird stuff that there are some connections out there that we don't fully understand. Jason, Valentina, welcome. Thank you. Byron, telepathy is real. And I just realized that I was saying telepathy wrong. Telepathy, is that what I said? Telepathy, yeah. Thanks, gaming. Appreciate it, man. What time are they? Will they finish eating? We don't know, Fire Alarm. We don't know where. We don't know what's going on with them. We're kind of on a break, which again there were some technical issues they were dealing with. They were supposed to be eating about 45 minutes ago. I was kind of hoping that we would get to chat with the astronauts as they ate, but that's not the case. But that's cool. Wait for them. Unstoppable Gaming. I'm 10 years old. Awesome, man. Well, welcome to the stream. And it's so great that you get to see this as a 10-year-old. You get to see the this launch and many to come in your lifetime. That's awesome. Phoenix, our government has a whole lot of secrets, and they don't want us to run around screaming. So they're letting them out a little at a time. Ooh. Ooh. Thank you, man. Yep, it is a NASA shirt. I wasn't wearing it in the beginning of the stream, and I thought, oh man, what? Gotta rock it. Oh yeah, gotta rock it. Ooh, yeah. All right, Phoenix, let's do that. Let's do that. Great. That looks like we're getting some shots from outer space here. I do not work at NASA, but I love NASA. I love science and math and space and technology, and it's so awesome that our country and countries around the world have programs dedicated to furthering our understanding of space and the and what this all is. I think it is incredible. So no, I don't work for them, but I really admire what they do. Ooh, Phoenix. Okay, Bridget, so you're the second person that's asked me that. So maybe I need to there should be I think Bridget, there should be a link in the description of this video. Oh, check out that shot. Oh, wow. Now that's got to be from the ISS, because the Falcon 9 was traveling at insane speeds to try to catch up to the ISS, to try to get on its orbit. So no, I'm not tired. I'm feeling good, Todd. Yeah. Yeah, 17,000 plus miles per hour. Woo. Oh yeah. We're cruising. For all life, man. No. No, we're definitely not alone. It's such an egocentric way of looking at things, you know? For how vast space is. It's almost like, man, like who the hell do you think you are? You know what I mean? Yeah. We can't even comprehend space, but nah, we're the only ones. Please, come on now. Tide Pod. Yeah, man. I played some PUBG, baby. That's my personal channel. How do they use the bathroom? That's pretty funny. That's a question that we should ask them. I'm pretty sure it's like a yeah. Have you ever been in an airplane? Have you ever went to the bathroom in an airplane? And that suction is pretty strong. Pretty sure that's that's kind of what we're dealing with here. Why did the guy go to space? Well, He did. Thanks, Typod. I have not played PUBG in a long time. Why did the guy go to space? Which guy? Which guy, Unstoppable? Who are you thinking of? We will jump right in there. Yeah, Phoenix, that tends to be our way of doing things. Yeah, I would and if yeah, the Kepler yeah, you guys should check out Kepler and see what that's all about. Real quick, I'm just going to check on these guys to see if we're... Okay, we're getting some messages over the radio. Let's see what they... See if they're going to come through anymore. Now it looks like we have radio sounds again. That's fine. That's the American way. Oh no. Interspace cannibalism, you say, Phoenix. Really? Interesting. I mean, I guess if they look like, it's kind of like us here on this planet, I think that'd make a good argument for vegans and vegetarians. They'd say, look, like if you went to another planet, they'd hunt you. They'd hunt you. Like, you would be their cattle. Oh. So Fire Alarm asked, how far is it to Mars? And before anyone looks it up, does anyone have any guesses how far Mars is from Earth? Because I was way off. I was way off. My guess would have been something like, oh jeez. My guess would have been something like, I don't know. Yeah, like, I don't know. 500,000 miles, something ridiculous, you know what I mean, like that? Guys, it's 51 million miles. At its usual, the minimum distance is 34 million miles. What? 34 million. Right. Tide Pod, yeah, 500,000. Right. Yeah, no. 34 to 50 million miles away. What? It's crazy. Or, Phoenix, you better hope to run into some space cattle out there that you can go hunt down, you know? I mean, that is a trip, right? I mean, if you think about it in terms of space, then it makes you kind of want to become a vegetarian, a vegan, because you're like, oh shit, well, all right, well, if I were to go out into space and I'm traveling and I come across something that like can't talk to me, but it's like this like little thing with like eyes that like look at you and you're like, all right, I'm gonna eat you. I mean, I guess it all depends on it depends on how necessary it is. Well, Unstoppable, space is always expanding, right? That's that's the theory of space. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely, Phoenix. But then you would have to be a vegetarian, right? No, Tide Pod, it's a good question. What's the philosophy of life? I think it's do good for the most amount of people you can. For as long as you have the resources for it, do good. Help people as much as you can. Because there's always going to be somebody who doesn't have the resources that you do, who needs a hand. That's it's pretty basic, you know, pretty basic look at it. Let's check in with these guys, see if there's anything coming over the radio. I'm gonna keep that on low just so if I can hear anything. What a beautiful shot. So that is, let's see if, oh, Bridget, you found it. Huzzah! I've been watching too much Arrested Development. Tobias Fumke. So it looks like, let's see where we are here. Wow. So guys, okay, so we're already, wow. So in just the past, I don't know, what's it been, 45 minutes? Again, it's traversing every 90 minutes. They're going around the Earth. And so what we've seen is, yeah, in about the past 45 minutes, they've made their way. It's been about 60 minutes, maybe 45 to 60 minutes. They've made their way from the South Pacific. I'd say probably about 3,000 miles off the coast, off the west coast of South America. They've made their way up over the United States, over the Texas, East Coast, Midwest Texas, Texas to the Midwest, and then up to the Northeast of the United States, across the Atlantic, down over Europe, and then Africa, Northern Africa, and now it looks like they're about 1,500 miles off of, let's see here, if we can get a chart here. it looks like I want to do this. So here's where the International Space Station is. And I believe, oh, I'd love to get a view of where Falcon 9 is. So International Space Station's here. And so that's why in that last shot we saw it was daylight. And so it looks like we're going to see daylight for, again, that's going to come over here, and that meets up back over here. So for the next, I would say, half an hour, the International Space Station is going to be in daylight. I don't know where the Falcon 9 rocket is at this time. Let's see if we can get a live tracker. We got some cool. Hi, Bridget.
Crew 1 mission blasted off from Kennedy Space Center's historic Pad 39A with 4 astronauts, Americans.
Their audio is a little off,
Hopkins,
guys, so let's just
Victor
wait for them
Glover,
to get it back on
Walker,
track.
and Japanese astronauts Soichinoguchi. Today we have a great group of people to talk about the Crew 1 mission in this post-launch press conference and talk about the many historic elements of this historic launch. Joining us today is NASA Administrator Jim Bridenstine, Kathy Leaders, Associate Administrator for Human Exploration and Operations at NASA Headquarters, Hiroshi Sasaki, Vice President and Director General of JAXA's Human Spaceflight Technology Directorate, Steve Dixon, Administrator of the Federal Aviation Administration, FAA, and Gwen Shotwell, President and Chief Operating Officer of SpaceX. And I'm Bettina Inclon. In a moment, we'll hear their opening remarks, and then we'll take questions from the media. So let's start with Administrator Jim Bridenstine.
Well, thank you, Bettina. Another historic night, and I want to congratulate the NASA team and the SpaceX team for an amazing job yet again. So, the big milestone here is that we are now moving away from development and test and into operational flights. And in fact, this operational flight was licensed by the FAA. So this is truly a commercial launch vehicle, and we're grateful to our partners at SpaceX for providing it and our partners at the FAA for licensing it. And I'm also grateful to our partners with Japan. And Hiroshi Sasaki, who's with us today, you should know that Japan is an amazing partner for the United States of America. We are exceptionally grateful that Japan would join us on Crew 1. And so this is a great day for the United States of America and a great day for Japan. And we look forward to many more years of a great partnership, not just in low Earth orbit, but all the way to the moon. So we're just really excited with how well it went today, and look forward to answering any questions.
Kathy?
Yeah, I cannot tell you. I know. Thank you, Gwen. It's been quite a journey for the team that's been out here and working so hard. This is really an amazing day for us. I can't tell you. I'm just like pretty choked up a little bit thinking about, the folks that have spent years of their lives getting ready for this mission, and being able to see the crew fly today was just phenomenal. We've talked a lot about firsts, and this mission is an example of multiple firsts for us. A partnership across agencies with the FAA, obviously, FCC, first commercial mission, a partnership across our international partners, and having, the Sasaki-san here is an example, and having Soichi on the flight is just an amazing experience for us. But most of all, it's a partnership with SpaceX and our commercial partners. And, leaving the team over there in the firing room, everybody is so fired up. They're so excited about this mission, but we're not done yet. We need to keep going. That spacecraft's out there with those 4 precious crew members on them, and we're going to get them safely to the International Space Station tomorrow, right? And but it was a beautiful launch today, and really excited, and thank you.
First of all, on behalf of Jackson, I'd like to express my appreciation to all staff who are engaged in the launch operations during the COVID-19 situations. The mission is still ongoing, but I would like to congratulate the launch success first. I have seen lots of launches of the Japanese rocket, but it is the first time to see the launch of Falcon 9. The night launch was very beautiful, and it was even more impressive considering that the 4 crew members, including JAXA astronaut Noguchi, were on board. It is very significant for JAXA that astronaut Noguchi will board the first operational flight of Crew Dragon and launches from Kennedy Space Center. I believe that this is an outcome of the cooperation between NASA and JAXA. And efforts of JAXA, including the astronaut Noguchi, have been highly evaluated by the partners. Astronaut Noguchi will be involved in a variety of activities on the ISS, and he will conduct science activities using microgravity environment and demonstrate the technologies for the future. Currently, JAXA and NASA are working on the framework of Japan-US Open Platform Partnership Program to achieve results through the mutual use of experiment equipment, and would like to further deepen the cooperation between Japan and the US. In July, the Ministry of Education, Culture, Sports, Science, and Technology of Japan and NASA signed the Joint Exploration Declaration of Intent for lunar cooperation. I believe the human space activities will expand from the ISS to the moon. I am looking forward to enjoy the new era and going together for the future. Once again, congratulations on a successful launch.
Well, on behalf of 45,000 aerospace professionals at the FAA, it is truly an honor and a privilege. This is a big night for many of us, and it's a big night for the FAA. But I first want to offer my congratulations, heartfelt congratulations to Jim and the NASA team, Sasaki-san, and JAXA, of course, our Japanese partners, and the SpaceX team led by Elon Musk and Gwen Shotwell. The energy in the room is palpable, and it is a tremendous accomplishment for our country and for humankind as we begin the next significant step towards the commercialization, in this case, of low Earth orbit. You know, this launch is another major milestone in space transportation. It's a culmination of a lot of hard work from a lot of people in government and industry, all working closely together. It's also the first FAA-licensed orbital human spaceflight launch. Our job in this mission is to protect public safety, property, and national security, and we've done that. We'll continue to work with the commercial space industry and NASA to ensure that we continue to meet these priorities. And we'll continue our efforts to help make the airspace system more flexible and dynamic so we can support the expected increase in space operations in the coming years. As a matter of fact, I received a text from our FAA Command Center just outside Washington, D.C. that we released the airspace for commercial traffic within 20 minutes of the launch. And we continue to refine our capabilities there. So it's a pleasure to be with you tonight. And again, congratulations to everyone on a successful start to a great mission.
Gwen.
Thanks, Bettina. I'm thrilled to be here today. I want to make sure I get all the thank yous. Thanks to NASA to start with for the partnership that we've had. This journey began really in August of 2006 when we first started working on Dragon and Falcon 9 together. So thank you for your partnership. Kathy, we've been working together for quite some time, since then, actually, from the beginning. I want to thank the 45th Space Wing, another mission partner here. I want to thank the FAA. Steve, appreciate all your support. And Sasaki-san, I wanted to thank you as well for both coming and participating, but also for allowing Soichi to fly on a Dragon. I want to thank SpaceX employees who have worked tirelessly, hard and tirelessly, through pretty extraordinary times. They continue to amaze me, and I'm so proud of them. So I wanted to thank them for that as well. Could not be more proud of the work that we've all done together here today. Falcon 9 the launch looked beautiful. I don't have any specifics on any anomalies that we had, which is great. We'll get more data as we go. Dragon was dropped off roughly 12 minutes into the mission into a beautiful orbit, and she's operating just fine, all systems nominal. Executed a burn, and I think there's 2 more to go. We approach the space station in a little over 24 hours from now. And then we'll be able to breathe a sigh of relief 26 or so hours from now, once we hand the crew over to NASA. In the next 15 months, we should be flying roughly 7 Dragon missions. And this mission represents the initiation of a Dragon in orbit continuously, knocking on wood. And certainly is really the beginning of a new era in human spaceflight. So thanks very much.
Thank you. Thank you all. I know that I could speak for millions that are just really excited to see these 4 astronauts on the Crew Dragon Resilience and to get to the International Space Station for this important mission. So with that, we'll take some questions. Our first question is from Marsha Dunn.
Hello?
Yes, Marsha, we can hear you.
Yes, great. Hi, for Ms. Shotwell, please. I'm curious, how wired into the launch was Elon? Was he backseat driving, so to speak? And curious as to where he actually monitored all the action from. Thank you.
So Elon was tied in very closely to the launch. I have a series of texts to prove it. As usual, regardless of where he is on the planet, he is watching closely and providing guidance and support.
Great. Our next question comes from Michael Sheets from CNBC.
Hi, my first question is for Gwen. SpaceX has really broken a new ceiling here in terms of doing something that only countries had done before. How many other companies do you see entering the orbital human spaceflight market in the next decade and kind of following in your footsteps now that you guys have done it?
You know, I'm a horrible predictor. I never get it right. So I think what you can count on is what I say won't be right. Obviously, we expect to have flights from Boeing upcoming, but I don't think you're asking about the existing providers. I think you're talking about new ones. This is a tough business to break into. I wouldn't expect any in the next 5 years, but hopefully within 10, there'll be plenty of folks doing this kind of work to make it more accessible to more folks.
Our next question comes from Eric Berger from Ars Technica.
Hi, congratulations everyone. Such a big night for human spaceflight. I think this is a question for Kathy, but if someone else wants to take it, that's fine too. Going back to yesterday's 24-hour delay, It's my understanding the primary driver of that was the fact that the drone ship couldn't get out of port due to Tropical Storm Eta. And I was just wondering, a few years ago, Kathy, could you imagine, scrubbing or holding a launch for a day, to recover the first stage of a rocket?
No, but we were also, I think a few years ago, weren't looking at the cadence that we had and trying to be as cost effective on our services going forward, right? This has been a horrendous year for storms. I don't think if you would have asked me a few years ago if we would have had, 5 storms hit the Louisiana coast and another set hit me, a couple hitting Florida in November, I would have been surprised too. But, with the systems that we have, there's constraints and big choices. And one of those choices was we had a beautiful opportunity on Sunday. And so that was a big part of the conversation and us deciding to pick this day. Yesterday, it ended up not being that great a day around the launch time. So this was a great day, and it was a great launch. And it was an amazing experience.
Great. They're certainly proud. It just goes to show you it's just going to get harder and harder with climate change.
I think all of us are still excited about
these launches to.
Our next question comes from Irene Klotz from Aviation Week.
To go on schedule.
Thanks, Bettina. Congratulations, everyone. My question is for Gwen. The 15-month 7 Dragons, are you counting commercial missions in that? And can you give us an update on where you stand on the commercial flights, aside from, I think, the Axiom mission was now officially on the books for the end of next year? Is there anything else? Thanks.
So I believe we did count 1 commercial mission in there, but I don't want to do math in public. I will call you if I got that one wrong. We'll be flying the Crew 2 mission in about 4.5 months, and then Crew 3 roughly, possibly 6 months later. We do hope to fly a commercial mission with Axiom, and maybe some other fun missions, which I'll chat about later.
Our next question.
Why are you being coy with us?
Curley.
Come on now.
Gwen Shotwell, kind of curious about what happened to your emotions when they had to reopen the hatch. And can you explain to me the technology? I think we're all kind of used to a hatch closing. You crank the wheel and it's closed. It seems to be a little bit longer process. I don't understand everything that you've got going there, but can you just kind of talk about the hatch and what happened?
So I'm not sure I heard you. If you're asking about the do-over on the hatch operation that we had today? So we closed the hatch the first time, and the capsule did not pass its leak checks. So we opened it and took a look at the seals, found a little bit of FOD, cleaned that up, adjusted the seals, and reclosed the hatch. And the Dragon capsule passed its leak check.
Okay.
We probably need to make that operation a little smoother, but we got it done.
Thank you, Gwen. Our next question comes from Jeff Faust.
Damn, Phoenix.
Hi, question for either Gwen or Kathy. There were some alerts after Crew Dragon made it to orbit about the thermal control system. It looks like that was resolved, but was that just a false alarm, or was that an actual issue with the thermal control system that has since been corrected? Thanks.
Well, what's amazing in the first hour of flight is kind of all the systems are activated, right? And so the fault detection systems are working, and what happened was it hit a fitter, and that kind of that happens during system startups, and it did exactly what it was supposed to do. It flipped over to the second leg. We have a lot of redundancy in the system, and then the team was able to go in and ended up clearing the faults, and both legs are back up and running. So this is not it's not an unusual thing to happen when systems are started up like this. It's we go through the launch, and then we kind of hang out for that first hour of Dragon activation, because it kind of is an amazing thing, and it goes through and checks out all the different parts of it, and gives us a good health check for the way the spacecraft's working. And like Gwen said, Dragon's flying beautifully right now.
Thank you both. Our next question comes from Joey Roulette, Reuters.
Hey, thanks, Bettina. Question for Kathy. I just wanted to follow up on that. Can you kind of give us a sense of what happened with the thermal control system? And for Gwen, how many private astronaut missions do you guys have booked up right now? Can you give us like a ballpark on maybe how much you're in talks for, or how much you have solidified? Thanks.
Well, sometimes it's just a sensor issue, right? And it's just a startup sensor getting everything aligned. And so actually, nothing really happened to the system. It was kind of just a function of kind of running through. And when you have all these checks and your system's doing all the checks, sometimes it'll hit a limit and then flip over, and then you reset the pieces of it. And so actually we have 2 good loops now, and the system's working great. So like I said, it's just a little bit of a startup glitch.
Thank you. Paul Brinkman, UPI, is our next reporter. Paul?
Yeah, thanks. I'm really thinking about the astronauts in space now, and poor people trying to sleep after launching on a rocket and flying around the Earth on a new spacecraft. My understanding is the flight time tonight apparently was extended, partly for their sleep time, and we've heard how important it is that they get proper sleep. But I'm thinking that must be kind of a challenge. So I guess, Kathy or Gwen, could you talk a little bit about how well astronauts sleep in space, and is it a really peaceful ride aboard Dragon now as it's cruising in orbit, or is there a lights out rule or a no talking rule? Thanks.
Well, they do have little curtains that they cover the windows, and they do get out of their suits and get comfortable and lay down. And you have to realize too, you're in 0G too, right? So you're in a little bit different position. These are experienced crew members, and they know that they've got to get their rest and work through them. And so the other really great thing is you can watch them, because there'll be a lot of NASA coverage of the mission over this next 26 hours. So you'll be able to see the crew during different activities, not while they're sleeping, but doing other activities, and so you'll be able to watch along what they do. These folks know what they're doing. They're very experienced. They know that they got to get their rest so that they can do the sequence of events that are coming up for docking as safely as possible.
Yeah. Still would be really hard to sleep right now. I'd be really excited.
They were having a lot of fun. If you notice them, you guys need to watch them. They were actually, this crew was, they were there.
Like, let's see it. Come on now.
Yeah, what an experience.
I'm sure
Our next
they
question
are.
comes from Stephen Clark.
I want to watch them fly around. Let's go.
Hi, congratulations, Stephen Clark from Spaceflight Now. Just wanted to clarify one thing from Gwen, the 7 Dragon missions in the next 15 months, I think you said. Do those include the cargo missions, or are those all crew missions? And also, I wanted to get an update on your Crew Dragon production line. How many Crew Dragons are currently being built? You have 2 that have launched now. Do you have any other Crew Dragons being assembled right now, or will you be doing your near-term missions with these 2 vehicles? Thanks.
Yeah, so I was hedging a little bit. I did check my phone, and the 7 missions I was talking about were all for NASA, CRS 21 through 24, and 3 crew missions. But I was hedging just in case one of those doesn't go, to include a commercial mission between now and then. And then the other question you asked was there a second part? Oh, how many Dragons in production? Thanks, Steve. You want to? So we have the Demo 2 Dragon is in the refurbishment process to fly Crew 2. There's a Dragon capsule well, there's also the CRS-21 capsule. I think there's 2 more cargo capsules after that, and we will have 3 additional Crew Dragon capsules, I believe. And they're all to some extent in production right now.
Okay. So our next question comes from David Mosier of Business Insider.
Thank you for taking my question. Kathy, I understand this docking will be fully automated that's coming up, but is there anything, any step you're particularly concerned about or will be watching closely? And Gwen, you mentioned some anomaly data. Maybe I misheard you, but is there anything SpaceX and NASA saw during launch or is seeing in orbit that needs further investigating? Thanks.
So the Dragon is designed to have an automated docking, and right now all the systems are working, and so we're not expecting there to be any issues with the docking. And obviously, you know, that they'll be checking out the systems as they get near station, and they check all the different sensor suites and make sure that things are functioning. And then the crew is also trained on being able to do some kind of backup maneuvers too. But right now, we're not expecting any issues, and I'm sure docking tomorrow will go smoothly.
Great. So, wanted to get one more question for Hiroshi Sasaki. We know that this mission had a lot of great milestones. Not only is it the first crew rotation from a commercial space vehicle, but also you're carrying the first international astronaut on this mission. What is next for JAXA in the future?
Next astronauts. Currently, we want to send astronaut Hoshide. I will currently on the Crew Dragon 2. He will. I hope he will become the ISS commander.
Fantastic, fantastic. Well, we're gonna start wrapping up this press conference. But before we do that, I'd like to turn it over to Administrator Breitstein for some closing remarks.
Well, sure. I think what we've seen today is really remarkable. So much work by so many people over a sustained period of time. Again, thank you to SpaceX and Gwen Shotwell and Elon Musk for being an amazing partner to NASA for all of these years. I think it's also important to recognize Kathy Leaders, who was very involved in the commercial resupply program. Which then kind of led to the development of a commercial crew program. And of course, Kathy has done amazing work through both of those programs, getting us to where we are as an agency now with commercial crew, and doing such an amazing job that we decided to put her in charge of all human spaceflight for NASA. So she's now responsible for getting us to the moon and onto Mars. So just want to say to Kathy Leaders, NASA is so grateful for all of your leadership for all of these years, and I can't wait to see the amazing things that you and the team do in the future. I also want to thank our friends from Japan. Again, there is no better partner to the United States of America when it comes to space exploration than the nation of Japan. JAXA has been with us for a very, very long time. They will be with us. You will be with us for a long time into the future. When we think about the Artemis program, we thank you for your commitment to the Artemis program, for a sustainable return to the moon, and of course, eventually missions to Mars. And Japan has been an amazing partner, so thank you. And of course, for this mission, so unique in that we are now going into basically operational missions that are commercial in nature, where NASA is a customer. Our goal has been and will be to be one customer of many customers in a very robust commercial marketplace in low Earth orbit. But we also want to have numerous providers that are competing on cost and innovation, and of course, safety. We've seen amazing work from SpaceX already. There's more coming from Boeing. But I think this ecosystem, this very virtuous cycle of continuous development is going to pay benefits to the American taxpayer and space exploration. And And as these missions go forward and we get more and more into the commercial aspects of it, the FAA is going to continue to be a critical partner. And we're grateful to the leadership there at the FAA for licensing this launch and moving us forward as a nation into this new era of commercial human spaceflight into orbital space. So, so many amazing things on this flight. As Kathy said earlier, it is not over. This was a beautiful launch, and we are all very excited about the launch. But remember, this is a 6-month mission, and it's the first of many. And I will tell you that we use the word operational. Make no mistake, when you're flying into space, it is always there's always risk, and we will always be diligent. And we have all the confidence in the world in SpaceX and in the NASA team, in our partners, international partners, FAA, and of course Boeing upcoming, which is going to be exciting. So I'm just very, very thrilled about how today went and look forward to so many great days in the future.
Thank you, Jim. So stay with us. We have lots of exciting news. As we've mentioned, we'll be having live continuous coverage on NASA television through docking, which will happen at 11 p.m. Tomorrow. And we'll also, of course, have the welcome ceremony. You can get all this information and lots more at nasa.gov. Again, nasa.gov, and you can watch the live broadcast on NASA TV. So thank you so much for joining us, and have a good night.
Here's our first live look inside the suit-up room. Crew Dragon Commander Mike Hopkins was born in Lebanon, Missouri.
Pilot Victor Glover is a native of Pomona, California.
And Mission Specialist Shannon Walker is from Houston, Texas.
Mission Specialist Soichinoguchi is from Yokohama, Kanagawa, Japan.
Here they come, walking down the hall.
Everyone's looking quite happy there.
Yeah, so cool. They're looking for people. They're looking for the people that have helped them all along the way, too, and want to make eye contact.
Here they come. The Crew 1 astronauts now beginning their journey to the launch pad ahead of this historic mission to the International Space Station.
This is Core on Countdown 1 for timeline. The crew departing for the pad on schedule.
This is chase car, so you can be along with the crew every step of the way.
It's kind of like the pre-flight, right? To walk around your vehicle before you get in and fly.
I love this shot. You know, when this was being designed, it was definitely a forward-thinking design.
And you can see on your screen the crew beginning the ingress process already. They are checking to make sure the suits are ready. They're helping them connect the umbilicals. They're buckling them in.
And Dragon SpaceX hatches closed.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition.
Not even gravity contains humanity when we explore as one for all. That's what we want to hear. Stage 1 propulsion is nominal.
Yeah, that was awesome. Oh, that was awesome. That was awesome. Oh, that was great. So where are we now? Let's see. It seems like we've kind of just, NASA is set up their live stream from the tail of, I want to say that's the International Space Station. I don't see how that can be Falcon 9 traveling at the speed it's traveling. But again, it's also probably way up in orbit where there's no real restrictions on its speed. But I need to have some dinner, and so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make this into a full screen, turn this NASA screen into a full screen view so you guys can enjoy it and you guys can continue in the chat. And I will be back pretty soon to see where we're at. Guys, to the new subscribers, thank you. To the new members, man, that means so much to me. I'll see you guys in a little bit.